Hi again, this is Ryan Sheffield, creator of FEROX and co-founder of Craft Fair Games. And in this video, we're going to go over the different card types in FEROX and how they're played. There are 4 types of cards in the game: actions, attacks, items, and responses. All of them are labeled with their type either above or below the title. Actions are the most basic card type. To play an action, simply pay its rage cost, follow its instructions, then discard it once it's resolved. For example, on the film crew player's turn, he decides to play the action card Dress the Wound, which allows him to give 1 HP to the exposed crew member of his choice. So, to do that, he first pays the rage cost of 4 to his opponent, then he moves the drug runner's HP marker up 1 space on the track. He then puts the card in the discard pile and ends his turn. Next, we have attacks. Attacks are a form of action card, hence the card type action attack. So anytime a card or ability refers to an action, it would also apply to an attack. However, that doesn't work both ways. To put it simply, all attacks are actions, but not all actions are attacks. I hope that makes sense. The film crew and natives carry out their attacks a little differently. So to play an attack, the film crew player first pays the rage cost to his opponent. Next, they declare which crew members are attacking. Remember, with rare exception, only exposed crew members can attack. In this case, the player can choose up to 2. He currently has 3 exposed, so he tells his opponent that Script Girl and Drug Runner will be the ones attacking this time. Each crew member attack is rolled and resolved 1 at a time, and it's important that both you and your opponent know which one you're rolling for. So in this case, let's say he starts with the Drug Runner. The Drug Runner has a dice count of 3, which means the player rolls all 3 film crew dice when he attacks. For each injury rolled, the crew member loses 1 HP. And yes, crew members can accidentally kill themselves with their coke-addled ineptitude. For each kill they roll, the crew member kills 1 exposed warrior of their choice. Misses, the blank sides of the dice, are disregarded. So let's say the player rolls for the Drug Runner and gets 1 injury and 2 kills. The player moves the Drug Runner's HP marker down 1 space on the track for the injury. Then he chooses 2 exposed warriors from any tribe to kill and places them on the next empty skulls on the encounter card. Remember, unless a card says otherwise, you can't kill warriors from the reserves. Once the Drug Runner's roll is resolved, it's Script Girl's turn. Her dice count is 1, so the player rolls 1 dice and resolves it the same way. He rolled a miss, so it's ignored and the attack is over. Now let's say the Drug Runner had killed 3 warriors instead of 2, filling all the skulls on the encounter card. That would mean that the encounter is over, but since he hasn't rolled for the Script Girl yet, he can choose whether or not he wants to finish out the attack. If he chooses to finish it out, he'll roll and resolve for the Script Girl normally, and any warriors she kills are still placed somewhere on the encounter card. They do not fill empty skulls on the next encounter card. Also, if they roll any injuries, they still count. When the natives play an attack, they start, of course, by paying the rage cost. Next, they declare which tribes will be attacking. In this case, they can choose up to 3. Remember, only tribes with at least 1 exposed warrior can attack. Since the yellow tribe doesn't have any warriors exposed right now, the native player announces to her opponent that red, blue, and green will be the attacking tribes. She then needs to gather up all the dice that she'll need for the attack. Each attacking tribe gets 1 dice for each exposed warrior they have, up to the number of dice that tribe has. So, for example, the yellow tribe has 2 total dice in the game. If they have 1 warrior exposed, the player will roll 1 yellow dice. 2 warriors, 2 dice. Any additional exposed warriors they have are irrelevant because there aren't any more yellow dice to use. So in this attack, she'll roll 1 red, 1 blue, and 3 green. Unlike the film crew, the native player rolls all of their tribe's attack dice at the same time. Here's what our example player rolled. All the misses are disregarded. Next, she assigns the hits. This is done by placing the dice that hit in front of exposed crew members' cards. Remember, with rare exception, you can't assign hits to crew members that are unexposed. How you divide up the hits amongst the crew members is up to you, but it's important that you physically place the dice, not just announce who's getting hit. Both players need to know which tribes are hitting which crew members. Once all the hits are assigned, the film crew player moves the affected crew member's HP markers down one space for each hit that they were assigned. He then returns the dice to his opponent. Lastly, the native player needs to resolve fleas. For every flea a tribe rolls, one of their exposed warriors is returned to the reserves. Once an attack card is resolved, it's discarded, just like any other action. Items are the only cards in the game that remain in play until the end of the encounter. The film crew's items are equipped directly to a single crew member, and only that crew member can benefit from its effects. To play an item, pay its rage cost, and place it below an exposed crew member's card. Each crew member can only have one item at any given time, and if they die or become unexposed, the item is discarded. The native's items affect the game more broadly. To play an item, the native player pays its rage cost and places it somewhere near their tribe cards, wherever it fits best. The natives can have up to 3 items in play at any given time. If they want to play more, they must first voluntarily discard one before they can play another. Items that are already in play can be used anytime they're relevant, including the turn they're played. Remember, putting an item in play from your hand counts as your turn, just like playing any other card. Using an item, however, does not. You can still play or draw a card regardless of how many items you use on your turn. At the end of an encounter, all items in play are discarded. Responses are played during your opponent's turn as an interruption. Each response card has timing instructions that tell you when it can be played. For example, it's the film crew player's turn. He decides to play the attack card Brawl and pays the rage cost of 4. The native player has the response card Strike Fear in her hand, which forces her opponent to discard an action before it could have any effect. The timing checks out, and the card is relevant since Brawl is an attack, which, as you remember, is a form of action. So she pays the rage cost of 3, and both Brawl and Strike Fear are discarded before the attack can take place. The film crew player ends their turn, and it's now the native player's turn. A few notes on responses. Responses can only be played on your opponent's turn, so obviously you can't play a response to a response. You can only play one response per opponent's turn. Pay attention to the timing instructions. If the card says play before your opponent rolls, you can't play it after they've already rolled. And lastly, playing a response on your opponent's turn does not take the place of your next turn. You still get to go when their turn is over. So those are the 4 main types of cards in FEROX, but there's one more thing I need to mention: tribal cards. Just like the film crew has the advantage of crew member abilities, the natives have the advantage of tribal cards. Some actions, items, and attacks in the native deck feature one of the tribe's color-coded symbols next to the standard rage cost. If the native player has at least one of that tribe's warriors exposed, the card's rage cost is the smaller number. If they don't have any currently exposed, they pay the standard rage cost. For example, if there's at least one green warrior exposed, a quality only costs 2 rage to play. If there are no green warriors exposed, the rage cost is 4. Aside from the rage discount, tribal cards work the same way as their non-tribal counterparts, so a tribal action plays the same way as a regular action, attacks, items, same thing. And there you have it. I hope these videos have been at least a little helpful, but of course there's no replacement for an actual read-through of the rulebook, so I've included a link to a PDF version in the description below in case you need it. And if you still have any questions, concerns, or comments at all, please feel free to email us or hit us up on social media anytime. And stay tuned for the 4th and final installment in this video series where we're going to play through an entire encounter so you can actually see the game in action. So, see you then.